Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dear Baddies, Boyfriends, Bitches, Dating, and Everything in Between. Special episode today with myself, Nicole AF, and Cindy.
Pressgrave.
Cindy Pressgrave. So thank you guys for listening and joining us on this journey that we are on. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about today is something that I think a lot of people in relationships, married, not married, go through, is when you've been with someone for so long, let's say like 5+ years, when you stop having sex. You have a conversation, it's not reciprocated, it's happening. It happened to me, honestly, in my marriage, and it's happening to a friend of mine and his wife currently. So he came to me and was like, hey, I need your advice because I've tried to talk to her. I don't know what else to do. We're not having sex. And I'm to the point where I'm horny all the time and I just want a blowjob. And I know a lot of men say that. And so I had to ask, how long has it actually been? He was like, well, I got a pity blowjob a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't anything great. And I know she didn't want to do it. So Cindy, my question to you is, what the fuck? Like, how do you get over that? I think I have an idea, but I want to pick your brain. What do you think?
Actually, you know what? This has been this conversation. I forgot. I've been talking to a lot of people lately about that. So now that you brought it up, it's something very common.
Yeah.
I have been married for 7-8 years and I have an extremely high sex drive, but it's not only one side. And people see that sex is work. And, even though you're in a relationship for 5, 6, 7, 20, 30 years, sex should never fade because that's a form of communicating with that person. Like, hey, you know what?
Is it sex or is it like intimacy as a whole? Because I feel like they kind of come hand in hand or go hand in hand.
I would say intimacy is very important because if you have communication and you have intimacy, your relationship is going to last very long. But if you're not able to talk about those desires and you're not able to say what you want and those needs to be fulfilled, then you're going to start looking at another place. It's just like, for instance, let's start with a kiss. How do you do that kiss? Do you like to be kissed with tongue or without tongue?
Yep. So I've talked to this friend once before, and years ago he did actually cheat on his wife, and they're still together. They worked through it. And I thought that was great. She was able to look past and they were able to go to therapy and work on the things that, the reason why, right? So I've always heard men cheat because it's a physical thing. And I've always heard women cheat because it's an emotional thing that they're not getting from their partner. So, but I don't necessarily think that that's true anymore. What do you think?
I think that, look, I was with my ex-husband for 7 years and I never cheated on him. I was loyal as fuck. And I was having sex with him 3 to 5 times a day. Sometimes in a week, we had 7 times a week and it never faded away. But then again, it also takes communication. Mm-hmm. I mean, how are you getting that person to bed or say like, hey, let's just fuck? That's something that I despised him saying, let's fuck.
Oh my God. I cannot tell you. I told my ex-husband this and my current boyfriend, don't ever fucking ask me that. Don't ever ask me that because that's going to turn me off. So it's so bad.
Because you feel like a whore. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you want to feel like that dirty whore?
I mean, sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, if we're role playing, but maybe.
I love what Jody said last podcast that we filmed was with Jody from XXO Connect, and she's the sex therapist that we talked to. But I love that she said, I brought up the word foreplay, and she was like, no, I don't like the word foreplay, because to get yourself to where you need to be to actually want to have sex with someone is not just a 20-minute fingering, right before penetration. So I love the fact that she said that because it's like, from the moment you wake up, you want to do little things for your partner to be like, hey, later on, let's go.
It's basic. I would say it's just connecting with a person, but it's not like, okay, I want sex.
Yeah.
What are the things that you're doing to get there? Are you like with a touch, with a kiss, with a looking in the eyes? I mean, are you finding those things that your partner is looking for and wanting and desires? Because I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's usually they say, hey, you know what? Women don't like having sex after marriage.
Well, that's definitely not true. I mean, you and I both been married. Like, I think married sex is great. I mean, you know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like to be choked and all that too. But anyway, treat me like a slut. Oh my gosh. But in this case, what are you doing to get there? Have you just like, because this is what happens in a usual married relationship is you're married and sex fades away. You stop dating each other. You stop communicating and you just become a potato couch. And that's it. Or couch potato. And then it's just like, oh, you know what? Let's just cuddle. Let's stay inside. But when was the last time you had a date with your partner? It is okay to have that date. If you don't have a date, when are you going to do it? When are you guys going to take time for each other? You and her or him and him. It doesn't matter what sex or gender you are, is you always find that time to get together. Like, in one of my
222 rule.
The what?
The 222 rule. So it's like, I guess this is for, you know, couples in like long-term relationships, but it's every 2 weeks you have a date night. Every 2 months you have like a weekend getaway. And then every 2 years you have like a real vacation. And like my ex-husband and I used to do that. And granted, he's my ex for different reasons, but you know, we did that. And I think that was really, really good for a few years span that we're actually good. And I do that like with my current boyfriend now. And because he works a lot, I work a lot too. So when we're home, it's not necessarily like we're focusing on each other. Like I run a business, he runs a business, you know, it's hard to kind of like get that one-on-one time. And also I think another rule that we have is we put our phones away at 10 o'clock. So unless it's like an emergency, we don't typically answer the phone after 10.
So I'm going to answer your question on that, putting the phone away and all that. So let's say, for instance, they say that you should put your kids to bed early. I put my kids around 7:30, 8 o'clock, they're knocked out. Knocked out. Because then if I were to have that special person or a relationship, I want to be able to give them time, spend time together, talk to them. Because even though you live in the same house, are you both communicating and talking about how did your day go with a simple hello? I mean, you're frustrated, you're stressed, you have the daily life things going on, but do you even talk about that? Or like, hey, you know what? And then that actually is something that people don't talk about, but then do you make time for sex? Like at times in the morning, I mean, before my ex-husband went to work, I would have sex with him.
I mean, if that's the only time that you've got, take advantage of it for sure.
And when he came back from work, the same thing too.
And it was no, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, you know, lunchtime too. Sometimes I would go see him at work.
Yeah. Lunchtime sex in the middle of the day, chef's kiss. Yeah.
Definitely. I remember when I lived we're in North Dakota, and he would be, I think it was swing shift, and I would come for lunch, but it was to have sex.
I've done that a couple times.
Okay, I gotta get my sex. Oh, God.
Well, okay, so that leads me to a question for you. Like a normal, average, everyday couple, married couple or not, how often per week do you think that they should be having sex? Like in my mind, depending on how busy you are, I want to say maybe 1 to 3, just depending on the schedule. I don't know. Like, what's your thought on that? I see your face. You're like, what the fuck?
1 to 3. I mean, oh gosh. I mean, for me, it would be 3 to 5. I mean, at least on a daily basis, at least 2 times. But during the weekends, it's going to be a little bit more. Yeah. Because then, I mean, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's the more time I have, and I can make more time. So it's going to come down to the person. Like, is your sex drive enough? And then this is something that we're going to talk about too, because, okay, does your person have erectile dysfunction? Like my ex-boyfriend, he had erectile dysfunction. Mm-hmm. And it was like, Is that person also, are you attracted to that person? Because sometimes people get married and they're not even sexually attracted.
Yeah,
Like
you're right.
I got the first time I was not sexually attracted to my ex-husband at all.
Oh, I
So
hate
for me, it was like, oh gosh, do I really want to have sex with this guy? No.
Well,
Um,
so what do you think? So I've always heard that women hit their peak sexually at around like mid 30s and men hit their peak at around like 18. So I feel like, cause I'm 35, I know you're around my age too. So like, did you feel a shift, I guess, in your sex drive when you, I don't know, got a little bit older?
I've always had a very high sex drive.
Even when you're younger? I just wonder like, cause for me, like when I turned 35, it was like, oh, let's fucking go. You know, I wanted to do it all the time. Like that I could do it multiple times a day. And but before that, I didn't have that same feeling.
No, before, I mean, I remember when I was like, with, because with my ex-husband has been the person that I've had the most sex.
Yeah.
And it was like, we would do probably 5 to 7 times a day. It was insane the amount of sex we had. And hopefully, gosh. But it's, I mean, it was every single day. I mean, but I don't know because, so I started my sex journey, meaning I lost my virginity when I was 19 years old. And I really didn't get into any serious relationship till 22 when I actually got married to my first ex-husband. So I really didn't play around
Yeah.
that much. So I wonder if that has to do something just because late in life I started late but it had to come down to the person, I would say.
Yeah.
It has to be like, do you actually like sex? And these are questions before you even get married to someone or you even have a relationship with someone. You have to talk about these things. Do you like to get your pussy eaten? Do you like oral? No? Then you're not going to work for me. Do you like to kiss with tongue? Like my ex-boyfriend, he didn't like to get kissed with tongue. And I didn't like that. So, I mean, it's just like, that was not going to work for me.
I had one boyfriend a couple of years ago. I already crossed a hurdle when he told me he wasn't circumcised. So I'm like, all right, fine. Like, I'm going to deal with this because I really, really like you. Not a problem. And it turns out it wasn't a problem. So the issue with our sex life is that we got into this routine. So I don't remember how many times a week it happened, but let's say 2 to 3. And it was always the same thing. Like there was only 2 positions. And even after I asked like, hey, let's do like costumes, let's do pigtails, let's do, why don't you come on my face? Like, stuff like that. And he shot it down. And so I wanted him to go down on me and he was adamant. No, 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 no. So I finally found out that there was 2 girls in his past that were not clean. And that's why he's scarred for life. I don't know how old he is now, maybe like 38, 39, but scarred for life. I feel sorry for the next person that he dates, but I hate that like these past experiences, like it's so important, I think for men, especially to educate themselves on this kind of shit because it's like Jody said last week, like there should be a scent, but never a smell, like it's okay to be like, I don't want to do this and just walk away. I would hate for that to ruin someone's sexual life going forward.
So I completely agree with that too, because let's say for instance, the guy I'm talking to or the guy I'm dating, we talked about, hair. I don't like hair. I am lasered. I don't do hair. I don't like hairy. I don't like any type of pubic hairs anywhere around my mouth. So for me, I mean, you never know. You never know.
No, you're totally right. Like I would prefer a guy to be like trimmed, and like groomed, but I don't want like a naked mole rat running around, like.
Now that you mentioned that, but that's the thing. It's the conversations that we're not having up front before getting into a relationship, before even having sex.
Yeah.
Because then you're probably having sex with the wrong person that pretty good darn well that it's not even going to make you happy. Like I love role playing. I love dressing up. I love wearing lingerie. But
Yeah.
all the people that I've dated, they don't like any of that. So what the heck am I looking? If you don't like that, then no.
Yeah.
I mean, do you like trying new things? Of course. I mean, that's what I like, but you have to have these conversations up front. And this is why a lot of people are uncomfortable. Are they uncomfortable or are they scared that they're going to be judged because they like feet or hands or that's something that turns them on? But if you're upfront with it, you would actually save yourself so many headaches.
Yeah. I think men really get the brunt of that too, because, you know, as a guy, you don't want to ask the girl that you're seeing, like, what are you into too soon? Cause then she's going to think that you're a fucking creep and then probably ghost you or something along those lines. But I mean, when do you think is an appropriate time to bring that stuff up? Like, I know you're dating a new guy and I know that you're very like forthcoming with things that you want. And I have the utmost admiration that you do that. But when do you, so, okay, let me rephrase my question. Since this guy is new and you guys have clearly had conversations, like, when are you going to have sex with him? Like, do you have it like a, however many dates in mind that you're like thinking like, oh, I need to have 5 and then we're good to go?
I'm actually not even thinking about having sex with him.
Okay.
And it's because I don't want to waste my bodily fluids on someone that I'm not going to have a future with.
I love it.
I don't want to, but I mean, our first date.
The bodily fluids on you, motherfucker. Thank
look,
you.
As much as I want someone to actually eat me out really, really bad because I haven't had anybody eat me out in over 2 years, I'm not gonna waste my time.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
But
you gotta find a guy that really, really, really loves to do that. You know what I mean? Like, because that guy knows what the fuck he's doing.
So on our first date, we actually talked about all of this stuff, sex and all this. And he was like, look, sex is really important for me. And I'm like, look, sex is really important for me too. But we both have come into an agreement that neither of us is going to have sex because we just want to make sure that we are the right person for each other.
Of course. Yeah.
We don't want to waste our time. He wants to have kids. He wants to get married. And I want the same thing too. I'm open to having more kids, but I'm not going to waste my time in a relationship for 6 months to a year to 2 years and then be like, oh, it's all because of lust. And once you kiss someone, you get emotional. Then all of these things surface up. And then there's not
the blinders.
The blindfold comes in and I'm like, but it's all about communication. It's all of these things. Do you have a high sex drive or do you have a low sex drive? Do you like to role play? Are you willing to try new things or are you just missionary style?
Nope. You know what? And I don't see anything wrong with missionary. Like, I think that is a great position, but it can't be the only position. Like, I don't know. I always appreciate a man that can flip me around, spice it up. It doesn't have to be like super crazy every single time, but like if we're doing the exact same thing every single time and we're in like a 10-minute routine from start to finish, I'm sorry, but like I'm fucking out. I can't do that. Like, I need to know that you appreciate me and want to be with me. And I know we talked about intimacy earlier, like before we started recording, but like that is such a major fucking, I guess, part of the, piece of the puzzle. Like, you have to have intimacy and it's more than just sex,
Yes, intimacy is so important and people don't know what intimacy is anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's almost like chivalry in a sense. I mean, it's not the same, but I feel like they can go hand in hand almost. Like, I love the simplest things. Like, if I'm doing dishes and boyfriend comes up and like kisses me on the back of the neck, like, oh, okay, weak in the knees, like, and it's
okay. Pull down my pants, stick it in. I mean,
I wish that, like, especially men, like, in the 20s, like they're not very experienced. They don't really know what to do. Like, I wish that they could take a class on intimacy because it's so much more than just penetration,
It is. And it's just like, I mean, you should actually just like, I don't know, it would be like a teaser. You know, that would be like the grand prize. And
Appetizer.
then especially having like appetizer would be like role playing.
Yeah.
That would be the appetizer, but the grand entree or dessert would be,
Yeah.
and then it's just like the most amazing experience is when you guys can actually have an orgasm, both of you at the same time.
Yeah. I've never done that. I've never been able to do that.
Oh my gosh. It's been a very, very long time for me.
I've always wanted to, cause like, and I'm sure you know, like you can control it with toys. So I've always wanted to try that. Like, cause obviously with a toy, it's more intense too. So one day it'll happen. One day it'll happen.
I mean, it's been since my ex-husband for me. So yeah.
To be honest, like, and my ex and I, like, we've not been together for almost 4 years at this point, but I don't remember having sex. I mean, I do remember having sex with him, but I don't remember how it was. And I don't know if that's like a trauma response, like blocking the shit out, but, and he's not a bad person at all. I don't want to say anything negative about him, but like, I don't remember. I know that's the first time I tried anal, but.
Yeah, I mean, with anal, I mean, you can actually, I mean, there's so many good things about anal, and a lot of women are afraid to try it.
Yeah, there's a lot of my girlfriends won't do it.
You can actually have orgasms through anal.
Hell yeah, you can.
Yeah. It's a good thing. It's a good experience.
Yeah.
It's finding that person that will actually be able to fill all your needs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I know I keep bringing Jody up, but our last podcast was one of my favorites. I think I loved talking to a sex therapist because I think you and I are both, you know, sex minded almost, and not almost, but, I love Jody because like everything that we talked about, I brought back and I talked to my boyfriend about it. And I love that every podcast that we have is the underlining tone is, communication. So I told him, I was like, all right, this is what you need to do. This is what I need. Like, like she was beneficial, like for me in my personal life too. So I can't wait to have her back on the podcast.
Oh, we are actually going to have her back in the next couple of weeks, which is awesome. And we're going to be talking about the intimacy part. So so Savior's going to be back. We're going to have Jason back. It's going to be Jody, you and I.
I love it. I can't wait. So xxoconnect.com is the website we're referring to. Jason Leibowitz and Jody, who's the sex therapist over there. I cannot say enough things about this website because it's focused on therapy and dating, but therapy to work on yourself before getting into a relationship and bringing your baggage and trauma into that relationship. Like I can't say enough good things about it. And the people that work there are phenomenal.
Oh no, they're amazing. I mean, Jason, Jody, I mean, they're, Claudia, they're all amazing. I mean, it's basically building you up and helping you grow as a person emotionally to have a healthy relationship, not only with other people, but with yourself too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I noticed that they do, they've got a yoga class on Friday.
They do? I don't know.
They do. Yeah.
I actually have to log in.
Huh?
I actually have to log in. Actually, one of my, so the dating coach that I had last year, I hired her. Her name is Lauren Zoller, and she's actually signed up in XXO Connect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So you meet a lot of interesting people there, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And they do, I know that they also do like corporate wellness, like health and wellness stuff too. So it's not just like laser focused on like dating and, you know, all of that. But yeah, if anybody's listening that wants to check that out, it's xxoconnect.com. And we do have a link in the last, show notes with, a code if you want to sign up and get 10% off.
Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and post that on this too. So then, but it also has to do with mental healthness.
It does. Yeah, definitely.
Because nowadays it's just like dating nowadays in the modern world is hard.
Hell yeah.
It is mentally, emotionally exhausting because you date.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Do you think that, all right, so I saw a TikTok earlier that was asking, millennials specifically, like, when are millennials going to have a midlife crisis? And stick with me because I promise this is relevant. So millennials not having a midlife crisis, because think about like a midlife crisis, right? Like, you've graduated college, you've gotten married, you've had a baby, you've gotten to be financially independent, financially stable, but millennials are struggling with all that, right? So like, we almost have like I guess kind of like a quarter life crisis, or like a every 10-year kind of crisis. Our whole lives have been crises, you know? So like the housing market crash, we are not really all financially where we should be, I think, as a whole, compared to like the boomer generation, or, you know, Gen Z. I'm sorry, Gen X.
Gen X.
Yeah, Gen X. So I wonder, you know, when it comes to these little mini crises, are we bringing all that baggage to our dating life and not actually working on trying to make that better? I don't know. That was in my brain today, and I wanted to just get that out.
So today, actually, at the dealership, I was actually talking to this lady because she says these teenagers nowadays are suicidal. And she's like, how can people be suicidal when they're kids? You know, and it's just like, again,
there's just so much.
I know.
My daughter asked me the other day, she was like, Mommy, what does gay mean? Because she overheard someone call another boy gay. And my daughter she's almost 8, in 2nd grade. I know that these questions are going to come up, and I'm glad she's asking me because I can give her the real answer. But like, that's too soon. You know, like, I thought I had more time, honestly.
But in my case, I have to go ahead and my brother's gay, so my kids already know what gay is, same sex couples. But when it comes to, all right, so Mommy, where do babies come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
Oh, yeah. Can we pick up the baby? And especially like, and I know this is not, so with my egg donation process, you know, my kids are experiencing something completely different than the normal kid. You know, it's just like, oh, when are you picking up the baby? I'm like, so it's just like more deeper conversations with these kids, mm-hmm. that you're like, how do I deal with this? Why are they asking what's a virgin? Let's bring up, thanks, Hocus Pocus 2, what's virgin? Someone that has not lit a candle, let's put it that way.
Yeah. No candles.
No, do not blow a candle. Gosh.
So my boyfriend's kids are only a couple years older than my daughter, but this weekend they were like, what's trans? And I'm going to give them an unbiased, non-judgmental answer, because I feel like I don't have any grounds to speak on, you know, like, if someone chooses, or not, I don't want to say chooses, if someone is gay or someone is trans, that's just what they are. And we live in a society that we accept it, you know? So I don't want to sugarcoat anything or hide anything from her. So I tell her exactly what it is. And I also told her, if this is something that you feel, that's okay. It's okay. You know, I never want her to feel judged, because then I feel like she'll never come back to me and talk to me about anything ever again.
And it's just like, I mean, and it's explaining, I mean, the kids are evolving rapidly. I mean, little girls are getting their periods at 9.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm thinking it has to do all with the food that they eat.
I think you're right too. Yeah.
And it's just like, they get boobs. I mean, I was a late bloomer. My period was when I was 16.
Oh, wow. I think I was about 12. I think I got boobs at like 11. But
I'm still trying to get my boobs.
Listen, I will give you some of mine gladly.
Please.
If we could swap boobs for an ass, that would be amazing.
I have a nice ass. You want to see mine?
Oh, I don't. I don't know if I do or don't. Boyfriend loves it, but I'm like, I don't want to do a BBL because that's a little bit big, but I mean, I'm not opposed to fat transfer. Let's just say that.
I mean, I actually just go ahead and I work out a lot. And looking at my pictures back then till now, it's just like, I finally have an ass.
Good for you. I mean, yeah, if you worked hard for that, it's fucking great.
My trainer kills me. He kicks my butt every single day.
I did squats. So I had a trainer for a couple of years. I did squats for an entire year. My ass did not grow. I don't know what happened. Like, I blame my mama.
So my question is, was that a good eye candy? I mean, just asking for a friend.
Keep my mouth shut. No, I'm just kidding.
Not be a good girl. Don't be naughty.
It's more fun that way. No.
I like being naughty.
Well, so I know. So on our next podcast, I think we're talking to Lisa. Can you? Who is Lisa? What does she do? How do you?
So Lisa she is actually, she's a psychic medium healer, and she is QHHT. It means about dealing with trauma. So it's quantum healing therapy.
That's awesome.
It's like how to say this? It is. Oh my gosh. It is quantum healing hypnosis technique.
Oh,
so
okay.
One of the reasons I want to bring Lisa on is because it has to do with healing and the traumas that we have encountered in our life, and how can we actually heal? So that's one of the reasons she's going to be coming on one of our next episodes coming up.
I love it. I know when you brought that up to me, I was like, let's fucking go. Absolutely. Like, there's not even a question in my mind that was like, nah, we shouldn't do this. No, we absolutely fucking should.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, and it's just like, it's a different perspective. I mean, it might not be for everybody, but I've actually done it several times. My brother is certified. He does the same thing, quantum healing, and it actually helps you heal and see things in a different perspective as well.
That's awesome. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Me too. I'm like, yay!
Yeah. So that's our next podcast, is our psychic medium. So stay tuned for the next one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I think, we have Thanksgiving.
We do.
Oh yeah. Wait. Well, no, it's Friday because this is going to release on Friday. So hopefully you guys had a great and amazing Thanksgiving with your family. You guys ate a lot of pecan pie or pecan pie, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie. I mean, that's all in the menu for me. And lots of turkey. You went on a turkey coma and you did your Black Friday shopping.
Now you're officially cuffed if, no. I'm kidding.
Well, where's my engagement ring? Oh, no, too soon.
Listen, I have seen so many, I want to say TikToks, if I'm thinking about it correctly, but Costco has killer diamonds right now, and they're not that expensive. So, men, if you're listening and you need to propose, go to Costco.
Well, I mean, I had no idea. You know what? That would be so interesting because a lot of people are announcing hey, we're having a baby next year, blah, blah, blah. And I can't wait to see how many people are getting engaged how many people have gotten engaged? Because we're talking in the future, but now present.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm looking forward to that.
We'll have to keep a tally. And see what happens next year.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo! Now, we'll make it. Now, my question is, will you make it past Valentine's Day?
Yes.
Huh.
We'll see.
We'll leave you guys with that one. Will you make it past Valentine's Day after being engaged?
Yep. We shall see.
All right, guys. Till next time.